Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday, the 17th of August. My name's Phillip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And Gary, welcome to this week's episode of GPTV, which is another lockdown week of GPTV. And I'm not going to make any political announcements, Gary, but it does feel like we've been in lockdown for a very, very, very long time.
Phil, people are angry. They're quite frankly pissed off. They've had enough of lockdown. People want to get out. But more importantly, they want some light, Phil, and something to cheer them up. And of course, that glowing sunshine through the clouds is GPTV. Oh, yes, we are going to bring you some light, viewers, because this is an episode where we are going to be interviewing Simon Cohen, who is one of the 3 stars on Luxe Property Sydney, Philip?
Luxe Listings, Gary, which has become an Amazon international sensation. And we're lucky enough to have incredibly deep contact lists that go and penetrate all sectors of society, Gary. And you, in your inimitable genius, was able to secure a star of an international show that most people don't have access to, but you, Gary, in your inimitable Jimmy Barnes approach to living, has managed to secure a very top-notch star. Power to you. A hard-hitting interview will be coming up on GPTV, where we know that a lot of people in lockdown are looking for some relief, and we're just so proud and pleased that GPTV has filled your life with some level of happiness.
Indeed, Phil. So we're going to be the lift that you need during lockdown. The interview with Simon, we're just going to interview him in a few moments' time. But before we do that, stay tuned for that interview because it's going to be fun. But before we do that, 18 sales this week. Not bad.
Yeah, Gary, I'm starting to wonder, because we've been complainers about this lockdown and we've lashed out, possibly unreasonably so, at all political parties and all political persuasions. But I'm starting to think that we do better in lockdown than we do in real life.
So you want him to stay in lockdown? Is that the sort of sick person that you are?
Well, I'm just wondering whether lockdown has actually been something that we should maybe, you know how people are now on these fasting diets, you know, these 5-2 diets, you know, eat what you like 5 days a week, fast 2 days a week. Maybe, Gary, we should bring in at Gary Peer and Associates as somewhat corporate leaders. We'll do a 4-3 where we lock down for 4, but open for 3. And maybe we can combine, you know, working the weekends, but lock down during the week.
You've lost me there, Phil, but that's okay. You do that so often over our journey. But I'm sure whatever you said will make sense to somebody out there that's like-minded. In the meantime, Phil, let's just move on. I think the message that you're trying to say is that these lockdowns have been okay for us. We're not being flippant about, of course, the devastation that these lockdowns cause and has caused, and there's a lot of people out there doing it tough. So we know that, but you come on this show to watch this show because you want to be entertained. We make light of everything. We're not belittling the tragedy of the lockdown and the sad situation, but you come onto this show to watch it, to be lifted up. So we're going to have some fun.
You know, anecdotally, Gary, it's come out that if you watch more than 2 episodes of this show, you become a long-term confirmed viewer. A lot of people watch less than 1 episode of the show to never return. But those, our loyal viewers that have kind of accept us for who we are, accept that our politics are not necessarily our politics, and understand that, you know, one needs to poke fun of life to get the most out of it.
Better to laugh than cry, Phil. It's like, you know, it's like a person discovering GPTV. It's like somebody walking down a hallway with doors, Phil. They'll open a door, they'll see GPTV, they'll see us there, and they'll either slam it shut quickly and run, or they'll open it up and say, you know what, I'm coming in. I'm coming in.
Or some wish that we kind of did a bit of a Wuhan approach to lockdown, where those doors that you talk about are simply welded shut forever, perhaps.
Phil, 18 sales this week. I did my first Zoom auction, Phil, I don't mind saying. I've cut my teeth and gone out there and done the Zoom auction at 10 at 3 Hewington Road, and boy, did I have some fun. Good to see you on.
Well, not only did you have some fun, Gary, but how good were you? I don't mind saying, because I rolled up to that auction with a T-shirt and a 4-day growth looking like some down and out Dero that had stumbled across an auction, as sometimes does happen in real life, of course. And I have to say, I thought you were fantastic.
Thank you. Well, it's very kind of you. I'll take that, Phil, and I'll get that recorded and play it back if I ever need to. But 10 at 3 Hewington Road, congratulations to the vendor and to the buyer also, who'd missed out on something before, was determined to get that one. So well done to the buyer there. Holly, I think the buyer was Holly, if I'm not mistaken, Phil, who purchased that for $690,000, Phil, way above the range and the expectation and, of course, the reserve. But 4 bidders will do that, Phil. So well done to Holly and to the vendors. And
well, that's spirited competition, Gary, and it yet again confirms good quality real estate, because there's one thing that we've learned across our journey, that if you buy A-grade real estate, it will, generally speaking, be competitive, and generally speaking, it'll outpace the rest of the market. And if you think about to dissect that sale, really good kind of 1960s, 1970s building. They're bigger than usual. Hewington Road is a fantastic address. That part of East St Kilda is a great location. So that one ticks a lot of boxes. So it doesn't surprise me that it went really well, but obviously even better than we thought it would go.
Indeed. It was a great one, Phil. Good to see those 4 bidders there, and those that missed out, sorry, we'll find you something else. Phillip, St Kilda Road, we love St Kilda Road, and lo and behold, an interstate buyer has popped along, seen this before, of course, the lockdown. Phil, 1106 at 576 St Kilda Road, sold well before auction, Phil, just shortly after being loaded online for $1,350,000.
Shout out to Arlene from our office, who handled that sale, I think, together with Michael Jonas from our St Kilda office. Well, look, we're starting to do more and more transactions, Gary, in St Kilda Road. And if you think about it, our office, we've got an office in Caulfield, office in St Kilda, and I think that uniquely places us to sell up and down Queens Road and St Kilda Road. But I have to say, viewers, if you want to see really what's good in St Kilda Road buildings, you should have a look at that property online. It's still online. I did a video tour there. Beautiful building, incredible facilities. And when I did that tour, Gary, I thought to myself, gee, I could live here really easily. 24-hour concierge, incredible swimming pool, incredible gymnasium, incredible common areas. And then, the apartment upstairs, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, great entertaining areas, views to Albert Park, over St Kilda Road. There's a lot to love in that sort of living.
Well done to Arlene. Well done to the sellers, who are wonderful people, Phil. So congratulations on that one. Well done to Michael Jonas. Phil, Irving Avenue, Paran, these are all sold. Hewington Road was auctioned, but St Kilda Road sold before auction. Irving Avenue, Phillip, 1 at 8 Irving Avenue, Paran, sold for $825,000 before auction. Again, someone that went through way back when. And, one of the things that we're going to talk about on the show next week, Phil, is the questioning the period of campaigns. Do you really need to have the content made?
Yes, Gary.
That'll be next week's show, Phil. Let's not use up the content now.
But it does need to be explored, Gary.
Oh, it has to be discussed, Phil.
That's got to be next week's hard-hitting topic, Gary.
Yes, Phil, it will be.
Bit of a shout out to those journalists that watch this show. There's some great content coming at you.
Exactly right. There has been some, in fact, there was some commentary on our ghost story. He made it into the Herald Sun. So thank you to Nathan Morby, who picked that up and spoke to us about it. So anyway, none of these properties have ghosts as far as we're concerned. Just want to tell you that, or anything else we're selling at the moment, or that the ghost will be disclosed. Sometimes hard to find the name of the ghost out, but anyway, we'll work on that. Fisher Street, Malvern, Phillip, sold undisclosed, but just demonstrating our spread of sales, Phil. We've got Paran.
Oh, Gary, shout out to our team there. But we had a bit of an edge in marketing that property in Fisher Street, because we said to the owners who were thinking about, do they list with a Malvern agent, or do we list with Gary Peer and Associates, who've got an office literally across the road in Carnegie, because that property was in the pocket of East Malvern, near the intersection of where our office is. Anyway, we said, we've got a very strategic approach to selling your property. And they said, oh, pray tell. And we said, we'll have Daniel Fisher work on this property. So there you go. Fisher was in Fisher.
Well, we'll pull out to get a listing. Who knows? Anything. Anyway, Fisher Street sold for, it was kind of quoted in that low 1.2 to 1.32 range, but sold for more than that, Phil. Just moving around the suburbs, Phil, going to Bentley East. 10A Clement Street in Bentley East sold Phillip, $1,455,000. So well
Very
done.
nice, very nice townhouse, that one, Gary. Shout out to the owners who did that. Beautiful home, beautiful property, and well handled, of course.
Kenay Clements Street, 1 at 13 Remuera Street. I want to talk about this for a second, Phil. The price is undisclosed, but the most delightful buyer from the most delightful family, and a lovely vendor too. They find each other, Phil. Great vendors and great buyers, and that's the case there. So congratulations to the purchaser. You know,
and I love that pocket of Caulfield South, Gary, because as you know, my mother was born in New Zealand, and Remuera is next to Rotorua, is next to Takapuna, and for all of our lovely New Zealand watchers of this show, because we do know that it's gone international, it's virally international, this show, shout out, because that's New Zealand's pocket of South Caulfield.
That's choice, bro, choice. That particular pocket. And we have been together to Remuera and run around there, Phil.
We have, Gary. Yep.
Run around causing chaos and mayhem.
Yep. And now we can't get back into the country.
I know, shame about that.
Flashes.
We probably should have thought a bit about that anyway. Maybe our kids will change their name by deed poll and be able to go there at some stage in their lives. Phillip, we move on. Before we get to our interview of Simon Cohen, we do have some offerings coming up this weekend, Phil. We have some auctions. We're going to go through them really quickly because we don't know if they're actually going to make it to auction, or they're going to sell before auction, or they're going to, in fact, be auctioned at all. So
we are selling a lot before auction, viewers. So if you do see something on screen or online, you really do need to check in, because we've got these auction dates on, but often they're being moved or being sold before, or they end up on Zoom. So you do need to stay close to the salesperson that's handling each of these properties.
Let's run through them quickly, Phil. We've got a property due to be auctioned on Wednesday, 15 at 225 Cornang Road, Carnegie, wonderful 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom property that Leo Samuel is looking forward to auctioning. And that's going up on, or supposed to be going up Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. We'll find out, Phillip. 1 at 9 Ormond Road, due to be auctioned Saturday. Wonderful 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1-car space, Phil. Leo Samuel Auctions. Phil, one of our feature auctions due to be going off this Saturday. You know this house. Don't tell me that you don't, because I know that you do. That's 24 Seaview Street, a modern masterpiece, Phil. Tell us,
Gary. Look, we're not sure what will happen with this auction as to whether it'll be Zoomed or postponed. But one thing I can say, a shout out to the developers of this house, because I see a lot of houses, as you would expect that I would, but this house is nothing short of breathtaking. First of all, Seaview is the most incredible street and the most incredible location. This house, I think it'd be hard to find a more beautiful home. This is the sort of home that if you were imagining building one and had an unlimited budget, you'd build this. So save 2 years of your life and a whole lot of heartache by buying this. Or if you want some ideas for a new home that you think about building yourself, you couldn't go wrong just duplicating this, because it is beautiful in every possible way.
When you move to the right there, Phil, we're losing half your face. Your glasses no longer. That's better. Yeah, that way. No, yes, no, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where we're having some fun. Phil, 15 Rotorua Street.
Speaking of that, just a bit of a shout out to viewers that are thinking about watching another show. I finished watching Hacks. Have you watched Hacks?
I haven't, Phil. I'm watching Hit and Run at the moment.
Yeah, so am I. We've started Hit and Run too, but
how can you watch two at the same time? I don't get that. How do you watch two at the same time?
Easy, Gary. If you don't have any friends, you just sit on the couch watching 24/7, watching television. That's not true. I've got a lot of friends. A lot of people love me. But having said that, Hacks, if you want to watch a great show, Hacks is very watchable.
I can't get over this. Sorry, because the Austrian background, we start and we finish. We don't go off in the middle of it and look somewhere else. We don't do that in Austria.
It was when you were dating, Gary, you didn't just date one person at a time, did you?
I'm not going to answer that question because either way, I'm gone if I answer that. So
did you like the way I said person? Because as we say in the interview with Simon, you can be sexually ambiguous, Gary.
As we're going to say, you mean, in the interview that hasn't yet happened. Okay, Phil, let's move on. 15 Rotorua Street, yes, that's due to go 3:30 on Saturday. 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, lots of parking. You enjoy your coffee there, Phil. We'll get to Sunday's planned auctions. 202 Grange Road, a wonderful property. This one, Phil. Leo Samuel looking to auction this on Sunday morning at 10:30. A big one, Phil, 4 bedrooms. 3 bathrooms, 4 parking spaces, 401 Glenira Road. We don't think it'll go ahead, but we want to review it anyway. Great looking house, Phil. You will be auctioning that, due to be Sunday at 11:30 a.m., but we're not sure. We're 21 Ross Street may well go ahead, Phil. We love that pocket of Elsternwick, of course, just near Horn Street and Glen Huntley Road. Plenty going on there. 21 Ross Street, Elsternwick, Viv Samuel handling that, Leo Samuel, the auctioneer. 101 to 103 Oron Crescent across the road from our office, Philip, due to go on Sunday at 1:30. Idan Goodman is the agent handling, and Jeremy Rose is booked to auction. And Philip, a big property, a big thumping property, 137 Curran Road. It's booked for auction Sunday.
Yeah, it is booked for auction, Gary, but stay tuned. I think that one will be rescheduled.
That's a big wrap on GPTV, Phil, in terms of the auctions that are scheduled to go this week. That's a big wrap on the sales that we've made, as many as we're going to go through anyway. Has been a very, very exciting time, even though it's a difficult time. Phil, let's get into the interview with Simon Cohen from Luxe Listings Sydney, viewed in 200 countries around the world. What an exciting time. Over to Simon Cohen and the interview with us. Thanks for coming on to the show, Simon, and welcome to GPTV. Now you know you've really made it big time.
You know what? It's been a dream of mine for a long time, and it's great for it to finally happen. So Phil, Gary, thank you both for making a boy's dream come true.
You know what? Really, Luxe Listings was really just a warm-up for GPTV. So really lovely to have you on the show, Simon. You know that we're massive. We've got a bit of a man crush on you. We had to make a decision between a man crush on Gavin Rubinstein or a man crush on you, and kind of the height. We went with height, essentially. So
I'll take what I got.
Thank you. I have one simple question before I hand over to Gary, who's got a list of hard-hitting questions for you, because he's somewhat of an investigative journalist. But Simon, I'm a bit disappointed that we got your cupboard and a bookshelf instead of the boat. Like, we were hoping that you'd be sitting on your boat in your white shorts and your pink shirt, giving us a bit of a tour of the harbour. But really what we got was your second bedroom in your apartment.
Well, I hate to break it to you. One, we're in a hard lockdown, and two, it's the middle of winter. So neither of those can happen. But you know what? Hopefully by summer we'll be out of lockdown and I can get a boat and I'll take you guys on a tour of everything Sydney has to offer.
Can I just ask you about that before we go into it? Firstly, anyone will do. Look, people do anything to get a GPTV. They'll have a show that will go all around the world just to get here. You could have just asked us, Simon, but that's okay.
I was nervous.
Fair enough. That's okay. But look, your hard lockdown, I spoke to somebody the other day. They said they had 80 people through a property that is open through lockdown. So you can still show people through houses, I understand, in a COVID-safe way. But there's people playing golf and there's people seeing properties. Is that the definition of a hard lockdown? Is that what we've come to? Is that it?
Well, 80 people should have gone through the home one by one.
They did. They did. Yeah, they did.
And golf, I mean, it is an outdoor recreational activity. So yes, that is a Sydney-siders idea of a hard lockdown.
That and Bondi Beach, I understand that's been pretty popular as well. But
Bondi has certainly been more popular than ever.
Yeah, so you have to have a chat to our Premier here, see what you can do about golf and showing homes. But let's ask some questions about Luxe Property Sydney, because there is some fantastic things to talk about. And we don't want to, we could keep you here all day, but we know you've got houses to sell, listings to get through. Firstly, let's just talk a bit about the show. How did you get on the show? Was that a competitive process, or was it easy to get on, or was it a long process? Tell us a bit about that.
It was a long process in the sense that the three of us were approached a few years ago, and we've been approached by a bunch of different people over the years, just with the rise of $1 million listings and selling Sunset and all of that. But the guys who approached us, Ben Stewart and the people Ben Scott and the people behind him, they put it to us on an angle which sort of resonated with the three of us. And, you know, we did sort of pilots and that sort of stuff. And then Amazon came along and sort of took over the show. And that's when sort of things skyrocketed. But it was just the three of us. But it was just a long process, if that makes sense. And the three of us did it because the three of us did it together. You know, we all respect each other and we all had the same sort of the same sort of value in that we didn't want to be portrayed as people who were going to throw water in each other's faces and pull, throw people in the swimming pool and that sort of stuff. We wanted to be respectable.
No scratching out of eyes or no hair pulling. Sorry, Phil, over to you.
Well, I've watched a few episodes. I'm yet to catch up on all of them, but is that what your definition of respectful is to each other?
Yeah, compared to what it could have been, absolutely. Listen, it is still all is fair in love and war. There's got to be a bit of competition.
And how do the three of you get together, and why is it you three? I mean, you're all obviously colleagues and friends, I suppose. So how did it become the three of you getting together? Were there other people involved, or?
I'm not sure why they chose the three of us. I mean, I think the three of us each play a different part that you need. I mean, obviously Gavin and Deline are both real estate agents and I'm a buyer's agent. Gavin's obviously incredibly successful real estate agent. Deline's an incredibly successful female in the real estate market, and she's done incredibly well. And I think the three of us all have a certain persona and personality that has together made, I guess, a TV show somewhat interesting, something that we all didn't think was possible. So I'm not sure. They kind of just liked us together, I guess.
Were there any other agents that were sort of in the running, or any other advocates who were in the running, or was it just you three from the start and off you went and that was it?
There's a lot that claimed there were, but no, it was just the three of us from the start.
And I'm sure all those that claimed they were all said that they chose not to do it and it was left with you three.
They've said it many times, which is quite funny because as the producers of the show and the founders of the show know, none of them were asked. But you know what? I guess you got to say what you got to say.
I'm just curious because I think all three of you bring three different stories to the show, and that's what makes it so compelling. And I think you're right. You're the buyer's advocate. She's a very strong character, and Gavin Rubenstein, for those that know him or know of him, understand that he takes up a lot of oxygen, and I mean that in a really positive way. I'm curious, how far can a guy like Gavin Rubenstein go? Because he seems to be doing so much so well, and he seems to be so ambitious. And obviously he's really got time on his side because he's quite a young guy, isn't he?
You know what? I think the funny thing, Phil, is what I've realized in life, you can go as far as you want to. I mean, and especially when you're a busy person, busy breeds busy. And I think I know Gavin, I know how driven he is, I know how focused he is. I know what he sets his mind to, what he decides he wants to achieve, he will achieve it. As you say, he's got time on his side, he's got drive on his side, he's got ambition on his side. And so I think the sky's the limit. And I think that's the case for anyone who wants something. Anyone can achieve it. But Gavin especially is incredibly driven and motivated. So, he's focused on growth, and I think he will grow a lot because that's what he wants to achieve.
Did any of you three ever hesitate or think maybe we shouldn't do this, or maybe we won't do this? Was that the thought of any of you three at any time?
Every single one of us had numerous discussions around this, And I'll be honest with you, Gaz, if it was anyone but Amazon, we probably wouldn't have done it. And we wouldn't have done it if we didn't do it together, and we wouldn't have done it if it wasn't with Amazon. Amazon have been incredibly respectful. I mean, they obviously have to make a TV show, but the boundaries were respected. And we were very worried that, we have all worked very hard to get to where we're at. Do we want to throw that away just to be on TV? Being in real estate is our jobs. Being on TV isn't. It isn't what pays the bills. And so we were very cautious of that.
Are you
how much time does it take up?
It takes up a lot of time, but early in the morning and late at night, to be honest with you. We manage around it.
Are you happy with how you have been represented on the show? Were there times where you looked and thought, oh, that's not really me, or I don't really like being represented that way, or that's not being painted in the best light? Are all three of you happy, do you believe, in how you've been represented?
Look, I can only speak for myself, and I watched every single episode and cringed the entire time because I hate seeing myself on TV and I hate the sound of my own voice. I'll cringe watching this when it goes live. But I am happy the way I was portrayed, in the sense that I was portrayed as me. I didn't play a character. Every scene that was shot was me. It was how I talk, it was how I act, it was real. So whether I like it or not, I can't complain about that, because that's what I asked Amazon, and that was the deal I cut with them. If they portray me, then I'm happy. Yes, I cringed. Yes, I was embarrassed, but I was happy that they portrayed who I am, and to me, that's really all that matters. And I think both Gavin and Deline were happy and portrayed who they are too, and so we were all comfortable with how season 1 turned out.
What's been the reaction of family and friends, can I ask?
Unlike I ever expected, the reaction from family and friends, and my mum's become the star of the show. That's the most beautiful part of it. But the reaction from the entire world has been so phenomenal. You realize how nice people really are, and you realize that, by doing simple things, everyday people get a bit of motivation from it, or a bit of enjoyment from it, or, it gives them an idea of what they can do in their business, and people sharing those stories every day, I think, has been the nicest part of it, I have to say.
Yeah, look, you know what? Not all of it has been nice. I think I need to tell you this. I mean, you'd think this is a show that's got a lot of positivity, but it's caused some trauma. And look, Phillip has been outdressed in this show. Now, Phillip Kingston has been outdressed. I think it's affected him. It's affected his mental state. He's in a state of lockdown. He can't get to the tailor.
He looks fantastic today.
He does look good, but look, we're spending a lot of time trying to help him out of this slump that he's in. But I think he feels that. I think it's actually not that he feels. He's been outdressed. I think Gavin's outdressed him.
Well, just hang on right 1 second.
Yeah, I disagree.
I agree to an extent, right? So here's the way I see it. Gavin Rubinstein and I share the same tailor. We both are dressed by P. Johnson. There's one big difference. They dress him for free. They charge me a lot of money. But I think the biggest difference between me and the way I dress and Gavin Rubinstein is, how about, and I'm in touch with my feminine side, I know that you are too, Simon, and Gary's pretty late to this party, but how good does Gavin look in just a pair of shorts along Bondi Beach with nothing other than those incredibly those beautiful abs? I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and that's I think that's the difference between him and me.
I've got to agree. If there was a how good you look with your shirt off competition, he would take the cake in this race, present company included.
I don't know, Phil. I reckon you're pretty, for your age, Phil. I reckon you're pretty fit. I'll throw that over to you.
The big question,
these are hard-hitting questions.
The big question,
60 minutes ask.
Why is Gary blushing?
Because he knows under there he's got an 8-pack and he wants us all to see it.
Oh, I think it might be an 18-pack more like it, so we'll leave that.
You want some hard-hitting questions? Here's the number one hard-hitting questions. What's this gig pay?
For season 1, it doesn't pay very much. I think we just did it for the experience, and I have to say, what has been incredibly well done worldwide marketing.
Yeah, without question. So, what does the second season pay?
I'm contractually obliged not to answer that.
Can we have a Price is Right and say more than, greater than, less than? We'll start off with 5 million, more than or less than?
Far less than. We're going to have to leave it there.
And jumping in there, I mean, I think probably from my vision of the show is that if anybody's got the most to gain out of this show, I would have thought it's probably you, because here's my take on it. You come through as being highly likable, which is not dissimilar to your natural persona. I think that that's definitely come out in the show. But I think that there still must be a massive market of people that don't quite understand what the buyer's agent does. And this has certainly put both buyer's advocacy and you definitely right into the spotlight of being a go-to guy. Would you agree or disagree?
Bill, another one of the best parts of this show coming out is how people have got to know, and people have reached out about it, what a buyer's agent actually does and where we fit into the process. and how many local and international clients that were never clients before have reached out and come on board with us. And so I think you've nailed something that has really stood out from the show, and that is A, the education piece around what we do, and B, the clientele that has reached out from it. So very fortunate that that has happened.
What is the percentage of transaction, for example, in the eastern suburbs of buyers that engage a buyer's agent?
It's funny, when I started this business almost 12 years ago, I reckon it was 0.00001%. Now it's probably around 60-65%.
Wow, as high as that. Do you think the show will encourage more people to engage buyer agents that may not have done so before?
I would like to think so, and I'd like to hope so. I mean, I'd like people to see the value add of what we do and the access we get, and how hard we fight for our clients. So I would hope and think that that is the case.
I've got a few more questions to get through here. One of the questions is, this is shown in how many countries, this show of yours?
Over 200.
So tell me, what is the most bizarre place that this is shown that you sit back and think somehow, how can I be on television in that place?
Someone told me it's shown in Pakistan. I'm just curious to hear how I sound in the Pakistani voiceover, to be honest.
I'm not sure the name Rubenstein will resonate too well in that country, but maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised.
Well, there's Cohen too, and Lewis, so it might not take off at all.
So Pakistan, well, you know, Kabul's been taken over. I'm not sure if the Taliban will allow that to continue to be showed there now, if it's shown indeed over there, but some remote and interesting places. And it would be funny, actually, I'm sure, to go and see some of those voiceovers to see how you sound in other countries.
I should do that at some stage, actually, on Amazon. Watch myself in different languages. People tag me in videos watching it in Italy and Argentina and all sorts of, and that's the funniest, hearing your voice, and that's quite entertaining.
Tell me, since you've been on the show, have people been approaching you? Do you find that there's people that didn't know you before or know you as Simon Cohen, buyer advocate, that now know you as Simon from Luxe Property?
Yeah, look, I do get a lot of people. I've been walking a lot during lockdown for exercise, and a lot of people pass me in the street and they say, I love the show, you were great on the show, which is really nice. People have been incredibly nice. I was sitting on the side of the road on Saturday. It was my birthday on Friday. Some random person drove past and screamed, happy birthday. I mean, you do get really nice things like that. No one spat at me or hurled abuse yet. So that's a really good start. So yeah, it's been really nice. People definitely stare and recognize or tap their friends and go, there's the guy from Luxe Listing Sydney. It does happen.
Well, good luck to you, and we love hearing that. And for those that might be interested to know, you know, when we got into the very, very dark part of lockdown last year, when it was the extended lockdown and the worst in Australia, certainly we had the benefit of you coming on and zooming with all of our guys way before Luxe listings was anywhere to be seen. So thank you as a friend of our company for giving us your time and expertise.
You have the most special people who work at your company. I remember doing that Zoom like it was yesterday, and everyone was so kind. So I would do it anytime you guys asked.
Well, be careful what you throw out there. Appreciate it. Thank you. A couple of other quick questions I've got. Any issues with buyers and sellers agreeing to come onto the show?
Look, fortunately for me, a lot of my clients, I represent them anyway. So I see the properties sort of through my eyes for their eyes. So there hasn't really been an issue with that. Season 1, I must say there was a lot of hesitation, but since season 2's come out, you'd be surprised the people who have thrown their hand in the air to be on, or to be sellers, to be buyers and vendors. I must say though, some of the houses that were showed in season 1, I've had people call me from all around the world asking me to make those people phenomenally huge offers. And so I think the show for some of these houses has been the greatest exposure, because they're exposing their properties to the entire world, some of the most wealthy people in the world. And so it's been a very good marketing tool for them. But there's certainly been a huge difference in hesitation between season 1 and season 2 with that.
There is no better city in the world, really, from a photogenic point of view. I mean, I think that when we think about cities around the world and how they look, there might be more interesting cities, or we jump on planes to visit other places. But I think if you've never been to Sydney, this show and hopefully the Australian tourism industry taps into this, but this show must just be so good for Sydney as a brand.
Coming from a Melbourner, that is a huge compliment, but I do have to say how amazing Sydney does look in the show. I mean, it is the most spectacular city, and Luxe Listings has shown it off in the most incredible light. I mean, the harbour, the beaches, the views, the amount of people that have reached out from around the world who've said they really want to come visit Sydney now, journalists I've spoke to from around the world, how much they want to come and see it, people who have reached out who want to buy second or third or fourth homes here. It has been an amazing thing, not only for Sydney, but I think Australia. And I think tourism will grow. I think international buyers will grow. And this show has played a huge part in that.
And coming down to the kind of hard-hitting questions, because Gary does tend to avoid the hard-hitting questions. He does a lot of work, and I commend you, Gary, for the amount of research that goes into the show. But I think a lot of people are really wanting to know this. We're not really sure of your current relationship status, but has this show made you more desirable? And keeping in mind, Sydney's one of those cities where you can be a bit ambiguous about what you prefer. Has this show worked for you from a relationship point of view?
This show has been phenomenal for my single life, yes.
One of the questions was asked from one of our team, and I'll get onto it in a second, was what happened with the girl who you dated on the show? Now, somebody's asked that question. I think Jeremy Rosen's. Any feedback on that? Are you a kiss and tell kind of guy, or are you keeping it to yourself?
Thank you, Jeremy. We went on a few dates. She's a great girl, and we still keep in touch.
Okay. Keep in touch status.
I'm not sure where that is on the scale, but we'll find out. Getting back for a second, do you think that this is going to lift the value of properties in Sydney, particularly the prestige properties, this show?
I definitely do. I think in the sense that people are going to see the value of properties in the show. People are going to see the competitiveness for properties in the show. I mean, all you had to do was look at that Vaucluse auction, and you see what that is true testament to what happens at prestige auctions here, right? There are 20 buyers to one property at a $20 million plus home. And so I think people are going to realize that it's not about having the money for the property. You're the lucky one if you get the property, right? And so I think it is going to be tremendous. It is going to be tremendous for prices. Look, the prestige market in Sydney is insane as it is. So I kind of hope it doesn't go any higher. But I do think people are going to realize what a rarity owning prestige property in Sydney is, and what a phenomenal investment it is.
I think a great segment for the show, and I've kind of just I've teased this out a little bit, but it could be you ringing me and saying, Phil, we need you. I could be at the tailor, and a car could pick me up from the tailor, drive me to a private airport where I'm ushered onto the plane. I arrive in Sydney where I'm escorted by a police escort to an auction where at least Sydney might have beautiful scenery, but you are very short of competent auctioneers. And, with due respect to the auctioneers that have been shown on the show, I think flying me to Sydney, if you could just run that past the directors of the show, because it's going to add a kind of Melbourne professional element to the show, something that you might not have.
Look, I do have to say, I have seen you in action, and you are a phenomenal auctioneer. It is a thing of beauty, right? So what I am going to do is pass your details on to my producer, and he'll be in touch to discuss that scene, which will probably cost about $5 million. So I hope
get his people to contact my people.
They will, don't worry.
Well, so I'm just going to say this time, there are 7 auctioneers, Gary Peer and Associates. First, I want to say that. And to use a line that once was asked of John Lennon from the Beatles, they said, do you think Ringo Starr is the best drummer in the world? And his answer was, I'm not sure Ringo Starr is the best drummer in the Beatles, let alone the world. Just put that out.
I love the competition.
Put that out there for now. A couple of quick questions, because we're taking up a lot of your time. Firstly, does your flamboyant client who loves gold, it's come from our organisation, end up buying something.
Tamara, stay tuned for season 2.
Now, talking about Tamara's, does Tammy end up leaving you and joining Leanne?
Stay tuned for season 2.
Hey, and when is season 2? I know there is a season 2. When does it come out? Have you finished and completed it?
No, we're far from finished. Everyone said season 1 was way too short. So season 2 is going to be, I think, double the episodes. So we are busy filming at the moment.
How far into it are you, may I ask?
Couple of episodes. It won't come out, unfortunately, until 2022.
There is still time for me to get a gig on this show.
Oh, there's plenty of time.
Is there
Pete Johnson on the line?
Will there be a season 3? Do you think this will go as long as GPTV, which is up to episode number 478 at the moment?
From your mouth to God's ears, Gary. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, that is all the questions I've got for you, Simon. Thank you for being on GPTV. Luxe Listing Sydney was a good step up for you, but you've made it now that you've hit on our
You know what? I feel like I've gone from being nominated for a Logie to being nominated for an Oscar. So it really has been a pleasure. Thank you for making a dream come true.
Perhaps to winning an Oscar, So
time will tell.
there you go. Well, Simon, congratulations on your great success. You do deserve it. And well done to Leanne and also to Gavin and to everybody who's on that show and enjoying it and putting in. I'm sure it is something, well, those sort of things don't happen by chance. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't achieve that sort of success by just sort of being an average regular Joe. You've done incredibly well. You've worked hard to achieve it. Plenty of other people have worked hard and haven't got to your position too. But obviously you have shone above the pack and created a fantastic niche and a great place for yourself. And we wish you continued success. And I think in all of that and in everything you've achieved, it's great to see that you're still a humble, great guy, and all of the success is well deserved. So congratulations, Simon. We look forward to watching what's going on in the episode or season 2, I should say, of Luxe Listing Sydney. We wish you every success. And thanks so much for coming on to GPTV.
Likewise to you guys, and thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure. We'll look forward to seeing you and keeping you in touch. We might check in again with you post or during season 2, if that's okay.
Please do.
Thanks. Bye for now. Enjoy Sydney. Be safe.
See you, Simon. Thanks, mate. Well, how good is he as a communicator, Gary? You can't help but think, and it's true, but you can't help but think, what a lovely bloke.
Hell of a nice guy, Simon Cohen, and a true professional, does a great job. And certainly he is having a significant change of life, Phil, having been on this Luxe Listings and amazing journey into the world media platform, Phil. And we wish him every success, as we do to Gavin and Leanne and everybody else is on that show. The buyers and sellers also on that show. And good on Amazon for taking an interest in Australian property and Sydney. You never know. They might get to Melbourne soon, Phil. That would be a lot of fun and interesting as well. That's a big wrap on this week's GPTV. We've got lots to talk about next week, which we're going to hold over. I know it's been a long edition, but we really did want to not cut short the interview with Simon because he's a fabulous and fascinating guy. See you next week. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Phillip Kingston. Have a fantastic and very safe lockdown week.